The best punishment I can give a woman, I will not talk to you, I won't touch you, I won't say a word. Frank Edoho. Frank Edoho is the voice behind Nigerians who wants to be a millionaire. Intelligent, witty, sharp, classy. One of the most recognizable voices in TV in West Africa. But recently, his second divorce and his interviews have stirred conversation. I'm going to create awareness about emotional abuse. People who may engage in emotional abuse are good people. They may not be bad people, but they don't realize that the things they do may be causing a lot of emotional wounds and scars to their partner. Hence, they're proud of it. They say, oh, I don't beat a woman, so therefore, what is it that I'm doing that is so bad? As intelligent as they may be, they may just not have come across such and the implications of such. Hence, they keep doing it. Frank Edoho had a recent interview where he said that he doesn't beat women. He punishes them with silence. So, my people, let's talk about emotional abuse. Emotional abuse doesn't always leave scars like physical abuse does. But when silence is used as a mode of conflict resolution, when somebody is being punished, or their character, or their actions, or their behavior is being controlled by silence, is no longer space. It's emotional abuse. Now, a lot of people may look at it as space in the beginning. Oh, he just wants space, she just wants space. That is different because when you're having a conflict, you may take space to calm down. So you don't say what you will regret or don't do what you will regret. When you feel like tensions are getting high, that is perfectly okay. But that's not what I'm talking about. This might even extend for days. They start avoiding the eye contact. They start avoiding the room you're in. They stop talking to you. They don't even touch you. And if you come close, they go the other way. All because they're upset. What happens if you just have a conversation with your spouse and tell them how you feel? Oh, you did this, I don't like it. You hurt me this way or that way. Because that's the mature thing to do. But instead, you choose to ignore them. You are not ignoring them because it will make you feel better, because you still don't feel better even while you're ignoring them. You're ignoring them to punish them because you know that's what will heal them. The reason for marriage is companionship, it's not even children. So that particular reason why somebody would get marry you in the first place is what you would hold because you're upset. You're punishing that person. Eventually, they will start doubting themselves. Are they unlovable? Why does he avoid me so much? Am I that bad? Am I so terrible that he would rather be by himself, talk on the phone than talk to me? You begin to inflict self-doubt. You begin to make the person to have low self-esteem. They begin to feel like they're not fun to be around. You don't like being around them. So they're not even processing it in the mindset of that particular fight. They're processing it generally. So this can cause a lot of emotional scars. It becomes very dangerous. I was having a discussion with someone that is going through this or that have gone through this in the past. Thank God, because it's better. And she actually told me that she would rather her husband beat her and give her black eyes than to ignore her. Because we are women. Women are wired to need attention. And we don't need it once or twice or Monday or Tuesday. We need it all the time. When you ignore most women, of course, there's always an exception to the rule. When you ignore most women, you're inflicting a lot of wounds in them. Then you're making them very upset. You're torturing them. Somebody have told me that they feel torture, that is torment. You just ignore them. You keep doing your thing. And you know this is tormenting them. And you keep doing it. Why? And tomorrow you say, I love you. What happened to the love the time you're ignoring her? Because you have a fight with your spouse does not mean you don't love him or her anymore. You're fighting. It's just like when your children upset you. You can be upset at them. You can even spank them. But at that moment while you're spanking them, If anything were to happen to that child, you would jump and do anything, even give yourself up to save the child. That is because, in as much as they have offended you, you still love them. Except that there's a difference between a child and an adult. When you are fighting with your spouse, bear it in mind that marriage is not over because you're fighting. Bear it in mind that your responsibilities are not over because you're fighting. You still owe that woman everything that you're required to give her: protection, love, attention. You still owe her all those things, even in your anger. And now, if you want to stop being angry, have a conversation. Let her know what she did that you didn't like and talk it out. Come to a middle ground. If she doesn't want to understand, you can escalate to other things you do when there is conflict in marriage. But what I'm trying to say is that ignoring her for days, especially a woman who is seeking your attention, you still owe that woman everything that you're required to give her: protection, love, attention. You still owe her all those things, even in your anger. And now, if you want to stop being angry, have a conversation. Let her know what she did that you didn't like and talk it out. Come to a middle ground. If she doesn't want to understand, you can escalate to other things you do when there is conflict in marriage. But what I'm trying to say is that ignoring her for days, especially a woman who is seeking your attention, a woman who is seeking for you to talk to her, a woman who wants you, you're ignoring her for days. Her emotional need is not being met for those days. And those are the loopholes some men don't know that they're living. While you're ignoring this woman, guess what will happen? Eventually, one day, they will get their emotional muscle and they won't care anymore. It's not because they don't want to care, it's a mode of protection. Because the reason they hurt when you do this to them is because they care about you, they love you, they want you. That's why they hurt. So, in order to stop that hurt, they will have to stop caring. And some women will work themselves to the extent that they will stop caring. And when this happens, at this point, let's say there's somebody outside that has been eyeing that your wife. They swoop in at this particular moment, give her the attention you are withholding, give her the love you're withholding, say something nice to her. And the woman that have been under torment for days will jump at that chance just to feel better. And tomorrow, you will wonder, where did these things start happening? Some of the most common forms of emotional abuse: stonewalling, where one partner completely shuts off; silent treatment, when they withhold conversation, connection, and everything else. These acts are designed to control the other person because you want the other person to succumb. Instead of talking to her, you feel like, okay, if I ignore her, she will beg, she will learn the hard way, she will not do that thing again. That is not how it works. Instead, you're creating emotional scars that will keep her wondering, am I unlovable? Am I so bad? Did I do something that terrible? You keep making them doubt themselves. Maybe he doesn't love me. Does he love me? Because if he loves me, he won't be making me feel this way. So you're creating emotional scars that may never go away. You may reconcile and start jumping out again, but those scars remain there. So be mindful of what you're doing to your partner. The problem with a lot of us is we don't listen to our partner. We want to do what we want to do as long as we feel like we're right. Especially my people, we are usually so set in our ways. Let me give you a scenario. When you're growing up in your house, mind you, the way we behave are mostly shaped by how we were raised. You're growing up in a house where everybody is shouting, go and sit down, go get out of here, this and that is how they express love. They don't see it as anything. They joke about it, they laugh about it, they call each other some pet names that may not be so palatable, like, hey, monkey, get out of here, you monkey, and things like that. And they don't mind it. That's how they grew up. And you marry somebody that was grown up in an environment that was so polished that using the name monkey is a taboo. They use a different language. And you now go fall in love with this person, you marry each other, and you want to show them love and you call them monkey. And they're like, what is wrong with you? Why are you calling me a monkey? And you're like, go and sit down, you're a monkey. You don't bother to understand that that is not how that person was raised. That person was raised in an entirely different environment that shaped them. So the things you may see to be offensive may not be offensive to them. The things you may think are funny may not be funny to them. So you have to understand your partner. And the best way to understand your partner is by listening to them. When they're telling you that this is hurting them, believe them and make amends. Don't force your own belief system on them. Don't force your own way of love on them. Don't force your own ideologies on them. Understand this is a separate individual raised by a separate environment, a separate parent, a separate community. So the best thing you can do to express love is by making an attempt to understand that your partner. And not telling them, oh, this is the way it is, this thing you did is wrong, this is an abomination. That's it. You shut down. They may be thinking, what did I do? Because they don't understand it. They don't see that as something bad. It takes you to have a conversation. Let me tell you, every couple should be having a meeting every week, if not every day. Have a meeting. What you talk about in the meeting is how you grew up, the way you see things. So you can begin to see each other's differences. And when you see it, you can be able to eventually amalgamate them, eventually come to the middle, eventually start respecting. Let me tell you, there's no love without respect. If you say you love somebody, you have to respect them. Respect what they believe in. Respect their ideologies. That is part of love. So you can't say I love you and you don't care about what I believe in. You don't care about what matters to me. You don't care about, you might be looking at something one way and the other person is seeing it entirely a different way. So there is need for consideration for the other person, whether you're a man or a woman. Leadership doesn't mean beat the other person down and force yourself on them. Leadership means leading by example, leading by respect, explanation. When you let somebody know the reason why you're doing something, they're more likely to do it with clear mind than when you just command them, hey, do this. When you lead somebody with love. A lot of things, I know I've had a lot of people talk about why marriages are failing in diaspora. Honestly, I for one believe that it's so easy to get along with people. You get along with your friends. Why can't you get along with your spouse? That is because you respect your friends. That is because you care about what they think. If you know your friend doesn't like this, you don't do it. But if you know your wife or your husband doesn't like something, that's what you keep doing because you must force your own ideology on them. It's not nice. Listen to your spouse. Find out what matters to them. Find out what is offensive to them. Find out how they want to be loved and try. If you're trying, trust me, they will know. And it's as simple as that. If you make a mistake, apologize and keep moving. Stop taking things so personally. They're not having that conversation on the phone by 9 o'clock because they want to offend you. It may be their style. They like to gist in the evening. So it takes you to talk to them. Hey, I would like to have your attention by this time. I'll prefer if you don't talk on the phone to other people. And if it's a marriage where there's mutual respect, that spouse will respect that and try to do his or her conversations early in the day. But you seeing that and shutting down, you stop talking to him or talking to her, you stop doing all the things you used to do, it's not going to solve it. It's only going to create emotional scars, emotional wounds. Emotional abuse can cause depression. It can cause anxiety because you're constantly wondering, oh, what will I do now? And he won't talk to me or she won't talk to me. So you're constantly anxious, getting high blood pressure for no reason. It can cause low self-esteem. It can cause long-time emotional shutdown. It can also cause somebody trauma. Yes, yes, it can cause trauma. That is why you see some people, if they've been in a marriage and they get out there, they can't love again because they're so traumatized. One of their subconscious way of protecting themselves is by not giving their heart. So let's be mindful. Frank never claimed to be abusive, but like many men, forgive me, men, because I'm using Frank as an example, so I will mention men, but this can also apply to women both ways. He never claimed to be abusive, but like many men, they don't know that withholding emotional support, withholding love, giving silence, they don't know that it can also slap, it can also beat, it can also create wounds. They don't know the impact that it has on the spouse. Hence, they pride themselves. I don't beat women. I don't beat. My dear, you're scattering the woman. It's not until you raise your hand. Women are emotional. Everybody know that. Not to say that men are not emotional, but we all know, even the Bible says it. Women are emotional beings. That's why we operate by what we hear. Is what triggers our emotions. This is not to cancel anyone, but awareness is needed, because unlearning certain things that we do starts with awareness. If you don't know that you're causing damage, you may not be likely to stop. So let's unlearn a lot of things we've learned, but it starts with awareness. That's why I want you to share this video. Share this video to every couple, because it has been normalized so much. And I don't really think I hear a lot of people talking about emotional abuse and neglect. You can really damage someone with emotional abuse. Emotional neglect is just as loud and as violent as physical abuse. Not to cancel anyone once again, because I do believe that a lot of us don't even think of it that way. You'll be like, what do you mean you're breaking somebody just because you're not talking to them? When you're married, you and your spouse are one. If you're functioning so well without each other, then there's something wrong. And if you have intertwined yourself so much with somebody that you talk to each other all the time, you share ideas, you anything that happens to you, that the first person you call. Something happens to you at work, you call them. You have a flat tire, you call them. Something happens that is good, you still share with them. All of a sudden, that person is not talking to you. Who do you now share those things with? Nobody. And what do you think happens? It creates some kind of vacuum in you, because you're not being able to continue function as is, as usual. So emotional abuse is the worst thing that can happen to anybody, because you can't even cry out. With physical abuse, you see, whenever people are talking, they say, oh, you cannot leave your marriage except if they're beating you. Oh, don't die in a marriage. If they're beating you, leave. I don't think I've heard anybody say, if they're emotionally abusing you, leave. But let me tell you, emotional abuse is more deadly than physical abuse. Because physical abuse, the wound can heal if you survive it. But emotional abuse don't heal so quickly. Trauma stays for years. It takes a lot of work to get over a lot of trauma. Eventually, you will start reacting. You start reacting. Yes, it's by either checking out of the marriage emotionally. And when you check out of the marriage emotionally, it's not every woman that will stay in a loveless marriage or in a marriage where they're doing their own thing, the man is doing their own thing. Because it's not every woman that wants to cheat. Some that can cheat, yes, they will get somebody outside to be fulfilling that emotional need. They will. And they're just staying in the same house with you. Half of the time, you don't even know what is going on in the house. You come home, you eat, you go to work. You don't know that your wife is getting her emotional need met from someone outside. But then there are those women that won't do that. Maybe due to their belief system or their upbringing, they won't do that. Guess what they'll do? They'll find a different way to survive. It's a survival motion. They will still check out of the marriage to protect their heart, but they'll find a way to survive. And sometimes part of survival is by leaving you alone. They will walk out to save themselves. They will divorce. That's why I say every woman that is divorced is not a bad woman. Each case is judged by itself, because some men will push you, and when you react, they don't talk about the reason, they talk about the reaction. Especially men that don't have remorse. Eventually, you want to save yourself, because at least if the man has remorse, you have a chance. Okay, let's go to counseling, let's work it out, things can get better. But a man that just simply doesn't care, what do? You just stay there in the house as decoration, answering misses, and you're not getting any benefit of misses. No emotional support whatsoever. Some women will say, you know what? That's it. I'm gone. And then society will go ahead and judge them for saving themselves. Or do you not know that depression can kill? Do you not know that loneliness can kill? Do you not know that anxiety can kill? So, my people, let's do better when we know better. Let's unlearn certain things and begin to learn new things. I hope this video meets you well, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a like, share the video, follow, and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. Until next time, I appreciate your time and may God bless you. Bye.